PR Connections Radio presents. This episode of We Have the Power is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and non-profit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
Well, welcome to another segment of We Have the Power. Hi, I'm your host, Brian Gardner. I'm celebrating my 6th year of doing We Have the Power with the idea that we should try to preserve our freedoms and liberties. Part of that is making sure that we are driving defensively and teaching our young people how to be safe in a town, Las Vegas, where anarchy on the roads, unfortunately, is the norm. We'll talk more about this and a couple of other interesting issues right after this important message. I'll be right back. It has been said that young people are the future of any country or any world. I believe that's true, and if you do, then together we know that we must invest in our young people. One of the best ways we can invest in them is by obtaining the booklets from the drugfreeworld.org Truth About Drugs campaign. The booklets, especially on marijuana, come in English, of course. This is something that is out there and is talked about a lot in the media, but it also comes in Spanish. And then there is a book that is a compilation book. And this one is very important because it covers things like alcohol abuse, ecstasy. We know that cocaine, crystal meth are things that are dangerous. Inhalants can be abused, and also heroin, LSD, and even prescription drugs. So it's very important to get these booklets that give information about what these drugs and what alcohol abuse will do. They don't say don't take them, which oftentimes turns young people off. They tell everyone who reads these booklets what this kind of activity will do. And in that way, we're investing in our young people and investing in the future of our country and this world. Just go to drugfreeworld.org and get these free booklets right away. Very good idea. I say every week that we can't have a country maintaining its freedoms and liberties when a majority of the population and citizens are abusing alcohol and taking drugs or involved with drug dealing. So that's important. Get those booklets, they're free. Now, before we get into talking about the main topic I want to cover today, and that is defensive driving, there's something else that I want to share with you and encourage you strongly to make up your own mind about it. I have canceled my Instagram account, and here's why. My own personal decision. I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm saying you might want to evaluate Instagram for yourself. I went and looked at some reels because they have Volkswagen reels and they have music reels and things. What I found was absolutely despicable. Currently, right now, Instagram is allowing people who are giving massages to show what's between a woman's legs visibly. They have young women who don't even look like they're 21 kissing their mothers. They have young people or young women who are both look like they're underage kissing each other. I have seen reels where they have young people, again, young women, with what looks like senior citizens and being very flirtatious with them like they're going to have sex with them. And then they switch from one to the other. And there was one scene where a young woman who looked underage stretched out on the couch and she had a skirt on. And so you could see what was under the skirt, and this old man was taking a photograph of it. Just absolutely unnecessary, despicable, disgusting imagery. And as far as I know, there's hardly any blocks on any age group getting to Instagram. Now, I know the Instagram is a really trendy thing and all that, but I have had my own Volkswagen art and my music on there for a while, promoting my art and my music, but I don't want to have anything to do with them anymore if they're going to allow this kind of imagery to be present. Now, it's one thing with a, shapely woman showing some cleavage or something, but when they go to the extremes that I just mentioned, they've gone too far. And that needs to have a firewall in front of it so that people who are younger cannot get to that material. And why would that material be there anyway? Especially with women that look like they're underage, kissing their own mothers. And, it's just, do we need to drag society down into this level? So I have canceled my Instagram account, and I'm not coming back till either they let me know or I hear from someone that they've cleaned up the guidelines for Instagram. You make up your own mind about it. Okay, enough said. Now, we are entering a period right now where schools are opening up in Las Vegas, and maybe where you're watching this, or maybe you're going to watch this in 6 months, and okay, fine. But this is being aired live right now, and it is time when schools are opening up. So we have to be very aware that there are young people who are walking around in larger numbers than have been in the last couple of months. Now, parents are responsible for their kids. And there's a couple of things that are just standard things that every parent should teach their child. Number one, you do not cross the street. My phone is not here because I don't want it to ring, but pretend this is a phone. Looking at your phone, and you're crossing the street. Drivers are not looking for you. They're busy trying to get somewhere. They just had a fight with their boyfriend or girlfriend or wife, and they're thinking about their bills, and they crash into your kids and kill them, okay, or injure them. Your kids, number one, need to put away the phone when they're crossing the street in a marked crosswalk. I can't tell you the number of times that I drive out to do errands, and adults, kids, whoever, they're crossing in the middle of the street on a 2-lane street, not in the crosswalk, because they're too lazy to walk over to where the light is and cross. And that's dangerous. You need to tell your kids to not do that. If you're in a parking lot, parking lots sometimes are the most dangerous motoring area on public roads. When you're walking back from a grocery store to your car, or your kids are, let's say they take the car to go pick up some stuff for you, they're a new driver, while they're pushing the cart or walking back to their car, instead of being on their phone or just talking with their friends and not even watching, they need to be looking at the backup lights of cars that are parked diagonally. Because if you see the backup lights come on a car, you better make sure that that driver sees you are there. And if they don't, you better wait, or you better, let them know you're there. If a car is facing you and you are going to walk into the crosswalk, you should have it where your kids know this like they know their middle name. You never, ever, ever walk in front of a car if that driver has not made eye contact with you. Because if he hasn't or she hasn't, there's a good chance he'll hit the gas, run right into you, your child. Make eye contact. Hey, I'm crossing here, And I've had situations where I waved at somebody when I was walking from or to a grocery store. And let me get a car here. I got to show you graphically. Here's a standard Nissan type car. I've told them I'm crossing. Here's what they do. They keep creeping and creeping and creeping and creeping. They don't come to a stop and let me know they're waiting for them. I'm walking right where my last name is, right here. See my last name? That's me. and they're doing this. And I told the guy once, I said, will you please stop? I'm slowing down. Well, you're not stopping. I don't know if you're going to stop and let me cross. The proper thing to do is if you get somebody's visual eye contact and you're the driver, you bring your car to a stop, okay? Your foot's on the brake. The car's not moving, and you let the person walk by. You don't keep rolling so that they wonder if you really made eye contact with them. But in a parking lot, get your kids grooved in. And that means ready to be doing that every time they are in a parking lot, watching for backup lights, especially if you have kids who are short, younger kids, because a lot of vehicles, they're backing up. They do have a camera, but if that child is pretty short, you see how my hand disappears? Yeah. They can't even see your kid. And if you aren't holding your kid's hand and you walk past the truck and then the guy backs up, thinks everybody's walked by, they're going to run right into your kid. You have to watch other drivers constantly, especially in a parking lot. Now, let's talk about you're tooling down a road that has very little stop lights, no stop signs, and the cars coming in from the side, either this side or this side, right? Coming in, wanting to get on this main thoroughfare, they have stop signs. Guess what they do? I see it all the time. Instead of coming to a stop and then moving into this 2-lane road or 3-lane road, I'm not talking about a freeway, city streets. Instead of coming to a full stop that the red stop sign demands that they do this. Imagine the stop sign is this word power. Watch this. Here's what they do. They go right through the red stop sign. The way that I use defensive driving, I have my hand on the horn, and if I see, I'll use this. If I see, let's set it like this. This is an applesauce jar. If I see that wheel moving at all, I get on the horn because I don't know if that person is drunk, drugged, had a fight, is upset, is worried, doesn't even see me. Boy, if that wheel starts moving, I know that car is rolling. I'm on the horn because they are required to stop, not roll through the red stop sign. So your kids who are new drivers, you tell them, hey, you want to use my car? If I ever catch you rolling through a red stop sign, you're going to be out of that car for 6 months, a month, 3 months, whatever. If you use the right amount of pressure on people, they will respond. If you said, you rolled through a red stop sign, you never get to drive the car again. Well, that's obviously too harsh. You're going to get your kids moving out and never talk to you again. If you say, okay, you don't get to drive the car for a day, they're going to go, big deal. Dad won't be with me next time I roll through a red stop sign. It's got to be a high enough thing that gets their attention. But as a driver, you need to watch. Now, a good thing to do is to drive in the middle. If there's 3 lanes on this city street and you don't have to turn right or left right away, get in that middle lane because then you're a little protected from the people coming in, like that little example I showed you. Once you have to get over in the right lane because you're turning into a shopping center, then you're going to have to watch the people who are rolling through the red stop signs when they shouldn't be. They should come to a full stop and then go. And so few people do that, just hardly anyone. However, you don't have to take all that on. That's too much negativity with people being anarchists on the road. Just take up the ones that might affect you. Keep your hand on that horn. And if you happen to be in the right lane because you're turning, you're turning right soon, and you're watching these drivers coming in and they're not stopping, or that wheel is turning. Hang on a second. Let me just take a little sip here. There's some dust. and allergies floating around. Okay, so if you see that wheel turning, man, get on that horn. Don't trust that they're just rolling an inch forward. Trust that they just had a fight with somebody. They're drunk. They're on drugs. They're not paying attention. They're upset. They're worried about their bills, worried about stress. Get on that horn. Suddenly it wakes them up and they go, oh, gosh, yeah, okay. And that's the number one thing you can do. Get in that middle lane, or if you're in the right lane because you're turning right soon, watch for those incoming cars, and you will, probably 1,000 times the car won't move. They'll move a little bit and you beep the horn. Probably 1,000 times that you're watching, nobody will roll through and crash into you. But the time you don't beep the horn is the guy who is distracted or the woman that's distracted, and you beep, it brings them to the present. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. All right. Now, there's another friend I have. I'm not going to mention her name, but I have tried the best I can to get her to change her mind. Her grandfather was a fireman in New York, and she said that he told her, don't wear a seatbelt because I've seen many people who couldn't get out of the car because their seatbelt failed and they were burned alive. Okay, a couple of things here. Do not stop wearing a seatbelt. The times when your car is going to catch fire, the percentages are so small that most of the time you're going at least 35 miles an hour. Sometimes you're doing 65 miles an hour on the freeway. You shouldn't be going much faster than that. And this woman drives 80 miles an hour on the freeway, which she shouldn't be doing, first of all. If she crashes, you see, people forget, if your car is going 80, you're going 80, and you're going to hit the inside of that car at 80 miles an hour. You think that's survivable? No, barely. So the amount of water intrusion and fire intrusion is so small, you must wear a seatbelt. It is the thing that will stop you from running into the interior of the car at 45, 35, 55, 65 miles an hour. And it is the device that will keep you from being ejected from the car. There is a video I saw on YouTube just recently. This was a famous young people's, maybe she's a rap star musician. You can find this on YouTube. She was driving a big SUV past another slower truck on a corner and then had to swing back over real quickly because she didn't notice there was oncoming traffic. And she did a maneuver like this. And the vehicle actually doesn't have a brain, but it got confused. She threw the vehicle off. It went off the road. She didn't have a seatbelt on. There were 4 other people in the SUV. She was thrown out of the car and killed because the door got banged open. She flew out because she has no seatbelt on. Everybody else in the car survived with no injuries. They all were wearing seatbelts. I saw the video, it goes up and she goes flying out of the car. 60 miles an hour crashing into a tree. You cannot survive. So tell your children, you want to ride in the car with me? You want to drive this car? You will wear a seatbelt. And when you're 18 or 21 and you're on your own, okay, fine. But while you are under my control, I'm your parent, you are going to wear a seatbelt. Now, I see a lot of times kids in the back, the parents say, oh, he's just in the back. He's got the seat protecting him because the seat's here and the kid's back here somewhere, and in a crash, that kid will fly right over the seat and crash into the dash or something. Kids anywhere in the car, if it's moving, have to be belted in. Okay. Now, let me tell you something else I do about belts. I pull up in my gated community to my mailbox. And I get out to check my mail, and I get back in the car, and what do? I put my seatbelt back on. Here's why. When I drive over to my garage, I back in to the garage, so when I want to leave, I can just drive out. It's much easier. In the process of turning around and then backing up, what if a car comes around the corner driving too fast, as they do in my gated community, and slams into me, and I don't have a seatbelt on? Now, probably a billion times I put the seatbelt on after picking up the mail, I'm not going to get hit by someone coming around that corner too fast. However, it only takes a second to put it on, and I am safe until that car is in the garage. And I want you to think about that. These kids that say, oh, I'm just going to 7-Eleven. I don't need to put the seatbelt on. Hey, you're driving my car, daughter, son. You will wear that seatbelt, or you're walking in the hot sun to 7-Eleven. You are not going to drive this vehicle unless you have a seatbelt on. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. Those are the rules. Okay, those are the rules. Now, I want to warn you about a particular stretch of road that the police are not monitoring properly. I plan to call them, get them to get some police out there. This is when you are going through Henderson by Stephanie, where all that construction is. It's from Eastern, Stephanie, they're just doing tons of construction in there. This is the speed limit. I want to do this graphically because I'm really upset on what's going around in there. And I want to show you something because it's anarchy on the roads. I heard someone say, because there isn't too many good quotas of policemen, people know that, and so they figure they can drive crazy because they're not going to get pulled over. This is the speed limit. That is the speed limit through that area, 55 miles an hour. And I used to be a school bus driver, so I have a different viewpoint about driving. I drive 55 through that area in respect of the workers who are on the side of the road doing stuff. Tremendous amount of construction through there. People in the fast lane are going 80, 75. Some are going 90. Some of them are in the middle lane going 80, 90, whatever. One particular individual got behind me and was tailgating me. And I, just blipped my brakes a little bit to get him to go around because I didn't want him tailgating me. And so he got mad at me and he pulls in front of me on the freeway and goes down to about 20 miles an hour, trying to get me to run into him so that he could then probably gain some money or who knows what. He was just being psychotic, really psychotic, because I didn't flip him off or do anything where I was just saying, could you please not? He was really close to me. And so when you go through that area, if you drive through that area, be careful. I would say drive 55 because you're showing your respect for the workers that are in there. That's why it's 55. Trucks coming in and out of the road, lots of work being done there. I'm going to call the police. I encourage you to call the police and tell them, hey, come on, get some officers out there. These people are going 90 through a 55-mile-an-hour zone where it is plainly marked, and plainly marked, it's a double fine if you get pulled over. Well, my viewpoint is anybody who drives 90 in a 55, they ought to, for a year, have a suspended license, ride the bus, because then it gets safer for us, the ones who try to drive responsibly. And if they say, oh, that's so harsh, oh, I can't get to work. And well, you should have thought about that before you went driving 90 in a 55 zone. You put it that high, people will go, okay, I better slow down. If they put a few police out there on that stretch of freeway, people will say, okay, the police are out. We can't do this anymore. But right now it's anarchy out there. Sometimes I have to go to Boulder City and I just go, okay, here we go. I call it anarchy freeway. It's what it is. People who are irresponsible think they can drive any way they want. Let's lay down a real fast rule that you should teach your kids, and everyone who is a driver who has a license should have this printed on their forehead, so when they shave in the morning or when they put makeup on, they go, oh, that's right. Driving is a privilege. You don't have a right to drive on the city streets or the freeways if you mess up continually. Driving is a privilege. Okay, you do not have a right. You have a right to ride the bus and go to work and have a job and pay your bills. You don't have a right to threaten all of us like too many anarchists are doing right now. I'm so pleased that they have bypassed those who are so reasonable, going back to schools for a minute. They have heightened the lights, the markings, the painting, and the fines if you are driving through a school zone when the lights are flashing. Now, I go to the kind of health food store there in Henderson, Las Vegas, and there is a school zone there, and I have driven by there with people. You're supposed to be going 15 miles an hour, and they have gone way faster than that. And I look at them and they act like I'm crazy. They don't even know that they're in a school zone. Anywhere there's a school zone, you have to follow what it says. Usually it's 15 miles an hour or 25. But that is something you need to be aware of as a driver, as a parent. Let your kids know, hey, I want to go back to this point again. Make eye contact with someone before you ever walk in front of their car. Do not, I've seen people, I've been waiting in a parking lot to move forward, and people will walk by me like this. And they're walking right in front of me on their phone, or they're walking like this. They don't even look up to see if there's a car to the left, car to the right. Luckily, I am the type of driver from being a school bus driver. I'm not perfect as a driver, but I have been trained as a school bus driver. Luckily, when I'm in a parking lot, I'm looking around going, where are the walkers? Where are the pedestrians? But the pedestrians aren't looking. So some of the accidents have been kids on these bikes or walking improperly across the street. Some of it's been their fault. A lot of it has been motorists who just won't slow down, think they can drive any way they want to in a school zone anywhere else. But if you can train your kids to look for backup lights, make sure you get eye contact, you will protect your children from injury. And if you as a driver are going down a multi-lane city street and you have to be in the right lane because you're turning right soon, if you can monitor closely who is coming in, it'd be from this side, who's coming in. And if you see that wheel turning, I'm going over this again, you see that wheel turning, man, get on the horn right now. Now, I just have a couple minutes, but there is a story I want to tell you real quickly, and I want to tell you something you can do. A number of years ago, I took my granddaughters to Burger King, and we were walking toward the door, and this huge garbage truck comes screaming into the parking lot. And I went over to the co-driver and said, would you tell your driver to slow down? He goes, every time I tell him that, he gets mad. I said, well, too bad. I'm not going to turn you in, but I'm telling you right now, you need to slow down. Now, here's what gets me quite emotional. I did not turn in that driver. I'm not trying to get anybody fired, but a good talking to by the boss to slow down was what I wanted to achieve. But I did not take any action. You ready for this? Are you ready for this? Here comes the emotion. A week after this incident, a garbage truck, they have those metal things that stick out a little bit. A garbage truck turned a corner too tight and killed a kid who was standing on the sidewalk. I think she was 6 or 7 or 8, killed her. Now, My viewpoint is, what if I would have turned in that driver and they had a safety meeting and that girl was alive today? I mean, I didn't kill her, but I did not take the action I should have. So what I'm telling you is, look, we're not trying to get people fired. People have trouble finding jobs. What we're trying to do is get people to be responsible drivers. So if you see a commercial vehicle doing something illegal, driving crazy, breaking the speed limit, whatever, I'll leave it up to you. You have a right to call in and say, hey, truck number 12345 at this time on this freeway was going 90 miles an hour in a 55 zone. Let me tell you, I know that the people who get that call are going to want to talk to that driver. And if he says, oh my gosh, you're right, he won't get fired. But that company does not want to kill somebody in a vehicle with their name all over it. Do you know the kind of financial straits that would put them in? Let alone, hopefully, they're responsible enough to not want to have their drivers driving bad just for the idea of it. But beyond that, if they kill a person with one of their drivers doing something illegal, they are in bad shape, that company. So if you see that going on, take some responsibility. You know, you can let the person know you called. Hey, I'm not trying to get somebody fired, but you need to get this driver to follow the laws of the road, to get him to slow down, you know. And that is something where you can take responsibility for that and hopefully save a life. I wish I had turned in that garbage truck driver and they had a safety meeting and maybe that girl would be alive today. I don't want to see that happen again. Would you? No, of course not. So defensive driving is the way to avoid accidents and follow the rules of the road yourself. If it's marked 55, drive 55. If it's marked 65, do not go 75. That's irresponsible. You're breaking the law. You know, do you really have to be in that much of a hurry? I mean, how would you feel if you killed somebody while you're driving? How do you ever get over that? You have taken away a person that other people were loving to have in their family, and they're not coming back no matter what doctor is called. You killed that person, they're gone forever. And you've denied that family member, a loved one, forever. Right? That's why I believe if you drink and drive and you kill somebody, guess what? It should go out to all citizens. You are driving and you kill somebody when you are drunk for the rest of your life until you are so old you can't function. Every single Saturday, you will be doing community service. And if people say, oh, that's so harsh, that's 50 years of work. And well, what is a life worth? 3 years in jail and then you probation for a year and you get your license back? Is that how we revere life? What about the families who lost a loved one? I don't think they would feel that is correct punishment. Drive responsibly, teach your kids to be aware of their surroundings, and let's kind of get this stuff out of the way so we can get on to the important matters of making sure we don't lose our freedoms and liberties. I'll see you next Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank you very much for watching and for being a responsible driver.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.